What's up, everyone? Welcome to Mor In The Know podcast. I'm your host, Josh Moore, co-founder and vice president of Field Supplements. We are switching up today's intro just a little bit. Normally, I have a big, long intro with all this information, but today we're changing some things up. Today's podcast is sponsored by Trials and Tribulations Clothing. Shout out to Matt Quigley. You can find the link to get some clothing at trialsandtribulation.com. And of course, as you can see across my head, I have a junk headband, this Field Retro Hippie Throwback headband, and you can find those at my company's website at fieldsupplements.com. All this information can be found below. It's been a minute since I've joined and been on this microphone, but I was just on a microphone that was about $10,000 more than this microphone yesterday. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. And today's podcast is going to be about celebrating other people's victories, celebrating your friends, and that's what life is going. It's such an important thing in life, is to be able to celebrate others' victories, because there's so much cake to go around. Everybody can have a piece of the pie. Everybody can have their victories. Everybody can live in abundance. And if you get jealous and you think that somebody gaining something is taking away from what you're doing, you have already lost. So I've already kind of talked about that on a previous podcast, but I want to really dive in here a little bit more. And it looks like I have a visitor today. Trevor Wilson's going to be coming in. I'm just going to leave this uncut because Trevor,
fuck.
What's good, dude?
What's up, dude? Sorry.
Come say hello to everyone on the podcast. I'm just going to leave this in here because.
Okay.
Come say hello.
Where are we at? Where did we leave off?
I'm only 2 minutes in, so what do you think, Trev?
I think that it's going great so far because
Okay.
I know, Josh, you're a very articulate young man.
All right.
And I'm looking at you, not in my eyes, but look at my eyes. Yeah, you see me?
I see.
Eye contact, baby.
I see him.
Yeah, I bet it's going really well, guys. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. What I was talking about, Trevor, is
Uh-huh.
I was talking about celebrating your friends' victories.
Oh yeah.
I think it's so
Friends, family.
I think, and you know what's, and this is what Trevor is going to be included in today's podcast, is saying that, you know what, if your friends are succeeding, your friends are doing something really awesome, guess what?
Support them.
Let them know and support them, man, right?
Support them all day.
You know, it's like Trevor is killing it in the real estate, so hit him up, EXP Trev, and you got to support a guy. And
Josh is now going to be a famous rapper.
a famous rapper. That's going to be, I'm going to trade in my day job of selling supplements so that I could hopefully get featured on a YG track. So you guys already know. But yeah, that's today's podcast, is celebrating your friends' victories and celebrating your family's victories and their wins. And if you think that them achieving something is taking away from what you're doing, you've lost. It's a broke mindset. So just a little bit on what Trevor was saying. I am working on a song with Patrick the Ginger. And what's really cool is a little story behind Patrick. Patrick was actually on the very first Mor In The Know podcast. We sat down, we talked about his music and his message to people. And his message is that music that can change your life. And his music is so very powerful. And the music industry is incredibly saturated. It's a tough industry to make a living in. It's a tough industry because every single person in this world is fighting for attention. Whether you're in supplements, whether you're in your real estate, whether you're in business, whether you're in music, whether you're in modeling, everybody, or dating, everybody is fighting for attention. So I first met Patty about over a year and a half ago now, and ever since then I've supported him on his dream. I've hyped him up, and I've really believed in him since day one. I started doing these motivational videos on my own, and I had this crazy idea that I was going to do a collaboration with him with some of my motivational speech, I guess you could say, motivational content over his content. And we actually collaborated last night. We're in the studio. We've been working on this for about 5 weeks now, and we're finally able to get into the studio to record it. And so far, so good, man. I really think it's something that's going to be incredibly positive. What's cool about it is you can hear every single word. There's no mumble rap. There's no mumble or bumble rap. And it's very articulate, and there's no swearing. So that's pretty cool, is we can actually fill 4 minutes up without having to repeat ourselves and to say WAP or something absolutely ridiculous. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be releasing more information as that comes to fruition here in the next few months. And of course, check it out. What I've really gained from this music collaboration with Patty is to understand what goes into creating a song. And it's way more than just walking in there and just either singing over a beat or rapping over a beat or whatever it may be. You can do that, of course. I mean, there's a way to do that, but the professionalism that we are working with HKS Studios and Brian over there is next level. So the music industry has gained a lot of my respect in the last 6 weeks. Of course, I've been following Patty and been in the studio a lot, but actually like involved with the track, how much pre-planning goes in, how much little things and little details that we're working on is incredible. I mean, it's a really, really a big deal. So if you are a singer-songwriter out there, I support you. And I know Sammy Listo probably listening in on this. He's one of my good friends out in California. He's just an incredible human being, and I know he's put so much heart and soul and spirit into his music, and I support him. I buy all his tracks. If they're a dollar download, instead of going to Spotify and getting the free download, go to iTunes and buy the 99-cent download. You spend money on things that you don't need to spend money on, but might as well support somebody that actually is putting their heart, soul, and spirit and purpose into something, and have a why when they wake up. And you can tell when somebody's doing what they're supposed to be doing in life, when they're purposefully living, because you can hear that message through their soul and spirit. So if you have a friend out there in the music industry, and this goes with all things, that's tying in today's message, is to celebrate your friends. I'm wearing a friend's clothing, Trials and Tribulation, Matt Quigley, like I said, and I'm celebrating him, man. I want to support him. I work with multiple CBD companies at CBD Revolutionaries, here up in Montana, Athletic CBD, as well as other companies that are really on the rise, and I'm incredibly grateful to have those connections, and also see that there are people my age as well as a little bit older, but in my circle of influence and affluence, that are succeeding in their life, that they're really actually going out and doing something outside of the 9 to 5, because we've been enslaved, we've been almost predestined to be enslaved for this 9 to 5, that we're just making money to pay for bills before we die. And that's something that I don't want to do. What I do want to do is I want to live purposefully day after day. And if you have people in your life that are living with purpose, if you have people in your life that are outside of the norm, and maybe they're not making a bunch of money, fuck the money, man. Fuck the fame, dude. All that matters is if you're happy. And so if you have friends or people in your network or people that you just know, that you support, that have a good, genuine intention, celebrate them. Hype them up. Celebrate their wins. If they're doing something cool, share their stories. I just had Val Rouser up. He moved from here. I'm pretty bitter about that, so not cool with that still, Val, but he moved up to Vegas. I'm actually really happy for the man. He moved up to Vegas, and he just quit his job working for the club, which is the best thing ever for him, his soul and spirit, and now he's coaching wrestling full-time, and guess what? I know that he's happy, and I'm celebrating that. I think that's freaking awesome, man, to see somebody have that vision, and I know it's been such a long time coming to want to be coaching wrestling full-time for Val, and now he's doing it actually. So that's what fuels my heart, soul, and spirit up, is seeing other people win. That's how I'm so inspired. I do have this inspiration within myself, this deep down, deep-rooted inspiration that comes from source, that each and every single day I just want to do so much. Because my dad asked me this question when I was home in Montana this last week, and that's another podcast, I'll share some Montana stories, is my dad asked me this question, and he says, first, let me break it down. I had about an hour-long conversation where we dove down the rabbit hole. I lifted the veil for the first time ever with my pops. And I shared a lot of the dark information about the world. I uncovered a lot of this deep-rooted corruption that is within politics and humanity. And I was telling him, hey, this is the reality of the world, and this is things that we must be conscious of, and these are things that we must prepare for. And I really only shared a lot of the negative things, and at the end of the hour-long conversation, he says to me, he goes, well, if all of this is true, Josh, what is the point of life? And I said, that's a great question, Dad. I believe that the point of life is that there's so much beauty still left in this world. There's so much good left in this world. There's so much positive. I want to be here. I want to have this human experience. I love my life each and every single day, and that's what I want you to do on your end. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's not about living in the house, living in this big, huge house, or having all these cars and things. It's about being happy. It's about waking up each and every single day and being like, you know what? Life's fucking good, man. For all the craziness and corruption that is outside these doors, with all the stuff that is going on with the New World Order and the agendas to trace, vaccinate, and eliminate the human race, we are standing up and we are raising our vibration and we are waking up to the truths of the world. And as we wake up to the truths of the world, instead of completely focusing on all the negative, still understanding that there's so much abundance, there's so much positivity, there's so much limitless potential that we can still achieve during these challenging times. What are you just going to stop? What are you going to stop because you have to wear a fucking mask? What are you going to stop because this COVID thing is a hoax and that we have to follow the rules? Are you just going to stop? Are you just going to slow down? Or are you going to speed up and live with faith and push down the gas pedal and no cap it as no cap as Ray Waters would say? What would you do? You don't just sit back. You put down your nose, you commit to the process, and you commit to your divine. And whatever your divine is, if your divine is to sit in the middle of a field naked fucking every single day for the rest of your life and do acid, then that's your divine, man. I don't care. But find out what makes you most happy. Find out what makes you tick. And if you're not in that space and you're in this unknowing and uncertainty space, I will share a little bit of how I got to where I feel where I am today in this perspective that I now live in. As I spent my early 20s traveling. I spent my early 20s searching. I spent my early 20s trying to figure out who I was and what really made me tick after 15 years of wrestling and having this identity that I was only an athlete and that's what only people love me for and that I had to be the man. You know, I had to be the poster guy. I had to be the guy on the front page of the paper. I had to be the state champ or the Division I athlete. This is who I had to be. And I've really stepped back in these last few years and understanding that I don't have to be the man. And that's what's cool now about celebrating my friends is that I don't have to be the man anymore because I got friends that are freaking awesome, man. I got a business that is flourishing. I wake up each day and I am around the people that I love, and that's what matters most. And how I got to where I am is I was searching for so many years, traveling the world, making mistakes. I lived in a van. I moved to Kauai. I lived out my dreams. I went to the ocean. I lived in the mountains out of a backpack and drove around in a shitty-ass 1997 fucking Toyota T100 that the door barely fucking closed. I did that life. And I did that life to not find, but discover that in which I already am. Discover that inside myself, saying, man, this is who I was all along at my roots. And now I'm just living by that rooted nature of myself. That true person that I've always been, but it took me years to unravel the onion layers around myself to get to where I am today. And each and every single day, I'm always letting go of my past. I'm in this process of letting go daily, of letting go of my unresolved feelings and letting go of the events that have shaped my feelings. I'm letting go of these past events, and that's allowed me to step into this place right now. Is my life perfect? Fuck no. Absolutely not. Perfect is unattainable. I'm living in progress. I'm living in committed daily progress. Each and every single day, I'm devoted and committed to developing myself in one way just slightly, just a little bit. And now you could say, well, that's ego strive or desire, and you could get really spiritual and be like, the secret of life is complete contentment and at peace. But I'm at peace here and now, but I'm moving forward in this space of progress and learning, like a plant that's growing. If you look outside, the grass doesn't just stay where it's at because it's content. The grass fucking grows, man. And as you should too. As you should, just as the rain waters the grass and then the grass grows, you should grow as the grass does. Over time, little by little, you should create change. Now, if you go outside in your front yard and then the next day you go out, you won't be able to see how much the grass grows. But if you go outside of your front yard and then come back 3 months later and you're like, holy shit, the grass is 12 inches. That's the same with personal progress. That's what's the same about your life. Is over time, committed action over time equals results. So maybe the first day, maybe the second day, maybe 30, 60, 90 days, maybe a year it might not be apparent. Then all of a sudden you look back 2 or 3 years down the road and you're like, holy shit, man, I have grown tremendously. And that's what life is about. And as you grow tremendously, you'll start to attract other people into your life and your circle of influence and affluence that are doing beautiful things with their life. So celebrate them. Celebrate them just as much as you celebrate your own winnings, because I truly believe that is the purpose of life, is doing what you love with the people that you love. And that's just it. So once again, Trials and Tribulations clothing, but their website is trialsandtribulation.com. You can find that in the link description below, as well as Field Supplements, these junk headbands. I have these new jerseys that I'm releasing, and I'll save that for a whole nother podcast. Everybody that I mentioned in this podcast, if you are listening, I just want to let you know that I'm grateful, that I love you, and that I appreciate you, and I'm proud of you. Because this world is, man, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, and all I know is that I sure do have some incredible human beings in my circle of influence, and my friends and my family, and for that I'm grateful, and for that concludes today's More in the Know podcast. You guys have a blessed day.